Hey y'all, I'm David. Will and I were talking earlier and he's like, this is kind of intimidating to get up and talk in front of people when all we really do is sit behind a computer and tweet at 140 characters at a time. So anyway, we've got a lot of slides here and I've been told I have 20 minutes and you're not going to hear from me the whole time, but if I say something stupid, stop me and raise your hand and say that didn't sound right. I'd be happy to hear from you. All right, let's make sure this works here. Okay, this is of course Jesse Pinkman. I think of myself and Will as kind of these guys, right? Like, I'm not sure which one of us is Walter White and which one of us is Jesse Pinkman. I'm not sure which one I'd actually really rather be. Probably Jesse since, well, no, I don't want to do any spoilers since some of y'all Netflix this. But anyway, yeah, science, right? Yeah, science. This is our avatar, which was created by a guy who lives not too far. I don't know. Michael, are you here? I don't know if you'd be here or not, but can y'all hear me okay? Yeah, okay, cool. He made this, and the reason I think it's funny, what color is the background? Because we had a debate about this a while ago, and I swear it still looks yellow to me. But we took a poll, and I think it was like 70-30, dude, it's green. So he says it's green. My wife says it's green. Yeah, yellow, yes. Who said that? Yeah. Awesome. Okay, anyway. Yeah, I couldn't resist this one. And the reason I show this is because we take what we do seriously, but we don't take ourselves seriously. Because, first of all, we do weather, right? So you can't take yourself too seriously because we're often get it wrong, right? We're actually not part of the National Weather Service. We are partners with them, which is to say that as this kind of thing blew up, I guess, what, 3-4 years ago, we figured out that we could help these guys. So it's a long story. You don't really want to hear it. If you want to read it, go to the website. There's a Thanks Tom tab. You'll hear the old sappy thing that I wrote when I was tired during vacation one time. But I really do like, Tom was awesome. Anyway, he was the guy who kind of helped us get this thing going. Okay, this is weather. I just blew into the microphone, didn't I? Let's check this out. Okay, this is really cool, and I could nerd out on this photo for about 15 minutes. But the point of this, obviously this is a major metropolitan area. Am I blocking your view of here? I think it's New York. This is a gust front, right? And this part up here, this little cloud here that forms, that's awesome. Okay. But we won't talk about why that happens. But this kind of, you know, it's kind of not cool when this happens to you and you're outside and the big winds come and it starts raining. We had one of these last October. Do y'all remember this? I took this from my office. By the way, I'm a lawyer, so full disclaimer. So I'm used to talking to people, although not this crowd. Usually they have robes. This was a gust front that was, this is looking due north from the Regions Bank building, 22nd floor. It was coming at us, and if you were here in October, you remember that. It was really cool, but it didn't rain as much as the last one. Anyway, the point of this slide is this is weather. This is climate, okay? Climate is this graph, right? Climate is 1880 through whenever I found this off the internet, right? What, 2000, whatever, right? And the idea is contiguous 48 U.S. surface air temperature anomalies, right? The big black line is the mean. And as you can see, looks like there's a little bit of an uptick there, right? Maybe getting a little warmer. But climate can be measured in several different ways. It can be measured over centuries, millennia, or as we'll talk later, in 30-year increments. But the point is weather, climate, okay? This is my favorite GIF, right? I was calling it GIF and somebody corrected me. But this guy, I think he looks like the guy from Stand By Me, all grown up. But I don't think it's him. It's not. Will says it's not him. Okay, this is my pet peeve. The media loves to confuse climate and weather, right? So I think there was a big summit on global warming that Al Gore was going to several years ago, and it snowed, and the good dude just got killed. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're confusing apples and oranges, right? Just because it snows doesn't mean the world isn't warming, because climate is that. Please don't make that mistake. And I know none of y'all would do it because you look like a reasonably intelligent crowd, but I see it all the time on Twitter. Hey, what's up with global warming? It's, it's snowing outside. Well, it's February. Here's the best analogy, and by the way, I'm not an expert in this stuff. In college, I took chemistry and American life to get rid of my science credit instead of taking like biology or real sciences. Meteorology is a hobby of mine. I've read all the textbooks. I've learned everything I can about it because I like to do it. So it's like anything. If you love to do it, you're going to do it, right? This is a grain of sand blown up at some super high resolution. This is the weather, okay? So you've got each little grain is basically the same, but it has different features. Climate is the beach. So this is the black sand beach in Maui, and obviously it's black sand. You got some rocks and stuff there. This is Siesta Key, which is where I used to live. When we moved from Nashville when I was a kid, we moved to Sarasota, Florida. I was actually born in Hawaii, and my mother said this was the best beach she's ever been to. So if you can go to Sarasota, it's like a retirement community, but the beach is awesome. Anyway, the point of this was not to tell that story. The point is white sand, right? So it seems like the climate debate is the beach black or is it white? Well, if I drop a black piece of sand or a granule of sand on a white beach, it doesn't make the beach black. It's still white. So I guess the argument for some people is what color is the beach? Is the earth cooling? Is it supposed to cool? Is it warming? Is it supposed to warm? And I was actually, no surprise to you probably, a debate nerd. And in our 11th grade, the topic for policy debate was the environment. So I could talk a lot about it, but that's old science from the early 90s. I'm almost 40, by the way, in case you're wondering. So I feel really old here. Yeah, thanks, man. Where are you at, man? We got to hang out later. Thanks. Oh, we're going the wrong way. Okay. Oh, wait. I almost gave it away. Okay. Climate also isn't just a study of decades or centuries or millennia. It can be, hey, we're going to try to figure out what's going to happen in the next 3 or 4 months. This is an actual forecast for snow accumulation by somebody who, since it's being recorded and put on the internet, I'm not going to name. Not me, of course. I could never do anything like this. This is cool. But we're supposed to get 167% more than our average annual snowfall. That was put out in the fall. Well, what is our annual average snowfall? 6.3 inches, right? So, and that's how you get it. You kind of study it by between November and April, and we'll go through some of the nerd math on that in a second, but 6.3 inches is your norm. Okay, this is how you figure out when it snowed. This is kind of, how am I doing on time? Oh, I'm doing great, all right. So you got up here, you got the months of the year, right, and the days. And this is beginning January the 1st of 2011. And this is snowfall in Nashville. In order for this to count, it's got to happen at the airport. And this is a whole snow dome controversy that we're not going to have. Because you have to have an objective standard of measure in order to do science, right? So that's what this is. So the yellow ones are this year. So you got, so for example, January the 23rd, 0.2 inches, 0.6, etc. The black ones are the times we got more than an inch. Notice they're all in 11. And the purple one is the last time we got more than an inch of snow. So was it last year or so? Somebody, we didn't come up with it, but somebody said, dude, there must be a snow dome over the city, which is why we haven't been getting more than an inch of snow. And this record is held up for, and there's a, by the way, whoever did the clouds over there, that thing's awesome. We're going to have to tweet that out. This one right over here, I'm not going to shine this in your eyes, don't worry. 4 years, and coming up on 4 years in a month on March the 9th. That's weird, right? So I get a few questions. Is this climate change or whatever? Probably not. sometimes you go 4 or 5 years without stuff. But it's been kind of frustrating. Okay, this was from January the 15th of this year. What's up? I mean, come on, we got snow everywhere but here. This is from last year. This is another image, and this is probably the one that really popularized Snow Dome, the jalapeno dome. This is like almost South Georgia has snow base. And we've got a jalapeno sitting over here that for some reason is leveled out on the southern edge. Yeah, that's pretty unusual, I would say. I don't know where this is in Arkansas, by the way. And it looks like there's a companion jalapeno. You can see it right here. But it doesn't look as big. I kind of wish that was in Texas. I could make a joke. But I don't know if it would have been a funny joke. But it would have been one of my jokes. This is February the 23rd of this year. Satellite orbits the Earth, takes pictures. And you can see snow on the ground where there's a lot of it. And obviously, you've got this. Where's my pointer on this thing? No. That's elevation. It's the plateau elevation. It's going to have more snow. So that's a little bit unfair to the graphic. But a couple days ago, we were getting 10 and 9-inch reports down here. And of course, we got at BNA, was it 0.5? 0.5, yeah. A pretty pathetic amount of snow. Okay, this is my favorite image of the snow dome, and I got a lot of them. What am I doing at the time? Okay. And this is the consternation. I don't know what this means, because I'm old. I see stuff, and I'm like, I think that people think this is funny. I'm not exactly sure why, and this is one of them. Because, I mean, there's people, they're like, my kid's 5, he's never slid down a hill. I'm like, that is kind of sad, because everybody's childhood should involve at least one ridiculous day of, going down on a sled and getting your feet wet, not telling your mom or dad, and then not feeling good later. So hopefully some people got out this last couple of days. All right, enough of winter. Let's talk about probably the reason why we do this is severe weather. And they're like, don't you have a job? I'm like, yeah, I do. But we're pretty good at telling you when the severe weather days are going to be way in advance, so we can fix it. And we'll go over kind of what to expect here. 20 to 30 days of severe weather a year out of 365 really isn't that much. Some people go on vacation. Some people golf. This is what I do. This is what Will does. Well, Will hunts too. That's another thing. So, tornado occurrences. You can see this is the dead season, but obviously everybody knows spring is when we're going to get the most of them. Yeah, March, April, May. What time of day do these come? This is in Central Standard Time, so usually 4, 5, 6 o'clock are the highest occurrence, but notice a little bit of an alarming percentage of these guys down here. That's a pretty good percentage. We actually had one, that squall line that came through January 30th of 13. It's weird how I remember these dates. But we get them at night, and in fact, we are #1 in the country in terms of nocturnal tornadoes, which is why people say, hey, do you ever go out and chase them? I'm like, no way, man, you can't see them. They're rain wrapped, and it's at night. So we're 45%, and that fuzzy graphic's my fault, by the way. By the way, this is really a cool space. Anyway. Okay. How y'all doing? Okay, all right. This is observation, right? This is you've probably seen this before, but this is hilarious, I think. Weather observations are easy. And here I'm going to go into a little bit of a rant about why people should give the weather guy a break, the forecaster. Because observation is easy. We can all look outside and go, hey, look, it's sunny, right? What's going on in the atmosphere? Okay, this is really nerdy. I promise this will be quick. A lot of stuff is going on, y'all, at any given time. The temperature is the red line. The dew point, the moisture content, is the blue line. The winds at the surface are blowing from the southwest, but if you go up, they're blowing about 100 miles an hour or so from the northwest. And at any given time, this is happening, right? And it's constantly changing. It's changing right now. It's never really static. how do we find out, or how do we make a forecast? Well, we do a weather balloon, right? This is old school stuff, but we still do it. You would think that we would have an app for figuring out what's going on above our heads. We don't. We actually fill up, of course I don't do it, the Weather Service does it. You fill up a balloon from a barn, you attach a radio son to it, and you just let it go. Do it twice a day. So I'm about to give away the trivia question answer here in a minute. The balloons are launched from these sites twice a day. So I'll up here, and they try to space them out. Some of them are upper air, which is another thing we'll talk about, or we actually won't talk about because you'll find it boring. But they come from Guam, Hawaii, American Samoa, Puerto Rico. There are 102 of these sites in the U.S. on U.S. soil twice a day. So if you answered 204, you're the winner. So I think, Alicia, right? She's scrolling through to see who might have won. 204 is the answer. It's also the number of, when I was a kid, the bus was bus 102, and now my kids, when they go to school, it's bus 204. That's how I remember. Because 102 sites, 204, you know. So.
360 is the closest.
360, who said 360? Eric, where are you at? I've seen you on the Twitter before, man.
Yeah, I know you a good bit.
Hey, man, thanks. Hey, congrats. All right, this is something, by the way, all this is going to be online, so you can like study it and amaze your friends at parties with all the information on this slideshow. But when we get, I wasn't serious about that really. How am I doing on time? 16 minutes, okay. Read this whenever a forecast goes bad. The point of showing you all that stuff is that there's a very little amount of data that the Weather Service has to find out what's actually going on. It's all plugged into a supercomputer that uses fluid dynamics and equations and things like that. And a lot of times the information changes, or you get the garbage in, garbage out principle, and you get bad forecasts. This is a really fantastic graphic. So if you ever are frustrated, gosh, you said it was going to snow 48 hours ago and now it's not. Well, we're just not that good at that. What we do is radar interpretation. What we're trying to do is take what looks like a bucket of spilled paint and explain in ways people can understand what it means. This is not here. On this here, you've got the stuff in the air, right? This is the traditional radar. This is alarming for the town of Concord because we got a hook echo on the southwest quadrant of a supercell. So that's telling us what's in the air. And this over here is telling us the wind, right? So we've got red wind moving away from the radar site and green moving towards the radar site. And when it does that, it means it's rotating. So we take to Twitter and we say, hey, y'all, if you live in Concord, of course, if you live here, because we don't cover wherever this is, we're telling you what's happening now. We can tell you what's happening now with reasonable certainty. We can't tell you what's happening 72 hours from now with any reasonable certainty in most cases. We do it on Twitter. Sometimes we say stuff that doesn't make any sense, and people are like, what? So we try to explain it. Here's Colbert, of course. I kind of miss Stephen Colbert, actually. The other guy's cool, but I mean, come on. Oh, wait, he talks, yeah. Okay, we don't do Facebook. Somebody told me the other day Facebook is for grandma. But we don't do it because it's a really terrible weather platform. So what my job is on this is to send information out to y'all in Davidson County and Williamson County, nowhere else. What Will does with the National Weather Service is he gets our T-spotter reports and he, pulls them in, tells the Weather Service about them inside their internal chat. So if y'all see bad weather or snow or whatever, let the Weather Service know by just tweeting it and tag it with T-spotter. And so I'm going to stop talking and let Will talk about T-spotter here.
How many of you have made a T-spotter report? Thank you. Yeah, you can. I can't see me behind you. T-spotter was invented by us in conjunction with the National Weather Service. It is, as the top of the logo says, ground truth. Weather radar, like you saw the bucket of spilled paint, starts out at an elevation of 0.5 degrees. I'm going to get a little technical. And because of the curve of the Earth and because it starts out tilted up, it can only see a discrete line. It can't see below that line. And we rely on ground truth or T-spotter reports to tell us whether it's really raining or is it really snowing or is there really hail. We've since partnered with, as this graphic shows, I don't know, 7 or 8 other counties. We've recruited other people in other counties to come in and not only promote T-spotter, but also provide nowcasting service like we do on NashSevereWx. We vet these folks. They are as reliable as we can find. Most of them do a really, really good job. And they cover a broader area than the metro. One of the things that we get asked a lot is, well, what's happening in Murfreesboro? And that is not what we do. I need the clicker. Hog. Thank you. Let's back up here. So if you ask us what's going on down here in Murfreesboro, we're not going to know, because the only thing out of this whole map that we really focus on are these 2 counties right here, Davidson and Williamson County. We don't focus on anything else. In T-spotter, however, we're going to take reports from all over Middle Tennessee. We take these reports, we quality control these reports to the best of our ability, and then we put these reports into the National Weather Service's proprietary chat room. This chat room is full of emergency managers, media folks like us, forecasters from both Nashville and other weather forecast offices around the country. And they can see what's really going on. Why is this helpful? Generally, before a tornado, there's going to be a hail core. So if it's hailing here and it looks like there's a tornado on the radar, we have a better certainty that a tornado is really happening. This is what started it for me. This is 1998, downtown Nashville. I went to Montgomery Bell Academy, if there's any NBA alums here. I was a senior at NBA in 98, and a tornado rolled up West End, crossed the river, and destroyed East Nashville. This was my first real experience with weather, and this is what started it for me. This is the radar from that day. How do I start it, David?
You should be able to click it again.
There we go.
It's a little puffy.
All right. This is the actual radar image from that day, April 1998. You can see a hook developing here. It's going to pop a tornado right there, rolls out and into the Hermitage area. For me, and I wrote on here, I couldn't think of anything cool to put on here, so I wrote helping others, because really that's why David and I do what we do, is to help others. Part of the service club at MBA went into East Nashville and helped clean up tornado damage. And if you've ever seen even EF0, EF1 tornado damage in a densely populated area with older construction like East Nashville, it's a war zone. It's crazy. So that really stuck with me. And when I got to learn enough about the weather to really help some folks, we started putting it out. This is the track, and you can see, I don't know how to make this laser thing work, but you can see the tornado track where it crossed 440, rolled up West End, and then straight out into the Hermitage, Hendersonville area. This is what did it for David. Does anybody know where this image is from? This is Katrina in Mississippi.
Yeah, this was actually my church. When I went to high school, I was an Army kid, so I moved around. And I went to church here for a long time. And this isn't too far off the beach. And this storm just rolled up. Hit the next one there, Will.
Yeah. Sorry, buddy.
This is a before and after of what it did. And so I went down to do cleanup. This was about 10 days after the storm happened. And it does something to you emotionally, even if, especially if you live there. And I knew people, because I'd gone to high school there, and just to stand in this stuff. So when people ask us why we do this, well, honestly, we're nerds for weather, right? Everybody's a nerd about something. For us, it's weather. But when you see something like this, you're like, what can I do? And so that's kind of, it's a cliche, but it's a passion, I think you would say. So anyway, we're not supposed to go over 20 minutes.
24. So
24. I'm sorry. I stole 4 minutes of your time. If you want this presentation, just go to this or you guys are smart, you can figure it out.